have to acknowledge my friend Damien. I would not be here. I would not be doing what I do if it wasn't for Damien. So those of you that did not have the opportunity to meet this young man, I say to you, ask anyone that knew him, and in the conversation, I guarantee you will recognize that he was way, way, way ahead of his time. With that, I have notes. Like I was saying again, Damien was a visionary person. And the Ridolph family, they came to me when he passed. And Randy, the shepherd, told me, he said, Mr. Collins, the housing project that y'all working on, we're going to keep working on it. And they never backed off. Would Ridolph group team stand up? Because if anybody, I'm telling you, I spent many years working and doing things and trying to help our community. But God blessed me with this. God blessed me with this. And I don't say that lightly. I also would like to recognize my blood family. My brother, my nieces, my two nieces, my sister's daughter. And back in the very back, I have a cousin. And along with her siblings, she is the last of the family that I knew as a kid. We have nieces and nephews that come along, but there's only one or two people left in my life that as a kid that mentored me or had a chance to encourage me to do some of the things and encourage me to do some of the things I shouldn't have did also. But I truly would like to say a few words. First, let me talk about my military. 16 years old, yes. But at the same time, I had been down for, I don't know if anyone remember Judge Albert Woolman down at 22nd and Payne at juvenile court. But I had been through that several times. So even though I did something stupid at the time as far as putting my age up and going in service, to me I think it saved my life. Because most of the people that I was hanging out with end up in penitentiary or drug addicts or dead or gangbanging or something of that nature. So I feel blessed about that. Soul Brothers. I have a nephew back there. Eric, stand up. I'm going to get you too. They operate, Eric runs our family business, and we're a fourth generation of trucking, construction, demolition, and we struggle just like anyone else, but we're proud as fourth generation of us are doing it. My father started it, and his Eric's father carried it on. So thank you guys. Most of us veterans here have in our 40s, 50s, and 60s, 70s, and 80s. We have experienced ups and downs. Ups and downs. But if you don't have a strong, strong family behind you, it's hard. It's hard. So I say, when we go off to combat and come to war, our families go with us. They suffer just as much as we do. We be thinking about them and they're thinking about us. So I encourage everyone to always remember, not only are we doing a job, there's another family member come in. Thank you. My mother and dad, let me tell you about my mom and dad. Very good people. Now you look back on them, man, they did a good job with a horrible guy. I was a kid that when you walk down the street, all the neighbors was on the porch. Keep on moving, little old college boy. Don't stop. Keep on moving all the way down the street. 147th in Kansas, between Kansman and Bartlett. The early 50s. We were one of the first black families on that street in Mount Pleasant. I was one of the first black kids in A.J. Rickoff School.
Oh, wow.
And I say this to get to the point of what I'm doing now. We working with veterans now.
That's right.
And we cracking the whip. We cracking the whip. We cracking the whip. As they said, that I did go down to city council. And to be honest, I thought they was going to haul me out like that. But the VA system is set up for after the thing. After we've been shot, after we've been wounded, after we've been diagnosed with brain injuries and stuff. Therefore, after everything, it is the community's responsibility to have proactive programs for veterans. It is not the VA's responsibility. It is the community's responsibility. And the reason for that is when we're dealing with PTSD, invisible wound, injuries. I like to say when I'm speaking to people, it's like a camera up here. What we see in combat, what we see, it don't go away. It goes back and back up in here in the camera until one day something caused that picture to develop. And there's no time limit. There's no time limit. I was retired from the state of New Mexico as the state investigator for horse racing. Had been retired 2 years before I ever had a flashback or anything. There's no time limit on this. Korean War veterans, World War I, II, if they had left, it could happen. And it's up to us. And I'm telling you, those of you that's not part of this fraternity or not part of the Red All team or not part of the group that came here, I'm telling you right now, you're looking at a bad group of people that work for veterans right now. They cracking the whip. We cracking the whip. The concerned veterans over here cracking the whip. That's another organization. We're demanding. I'm not asking anybody anything for veterans. I'm demanding what I have come. And I represent 58,000 guys that didn't come home. Didn't come home. I spent time at the University of Oklahoma when I first got out of, come home from Vietnam and was discharged at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. And I tried to go to college, even though I didn't finish the 9th grade. But I tried to go. I had a GED. I did to the GED. But I could not function. I really couldn't function. And I didn't know it at the time. But I was dealing with Vietnam then. I didn't know it. Like they said in the bio, PTSD hadn't, and they hadn't even started talking about anything like that. But I say that God sent me the right way. Anybody who know me know I'm a black cowboy. That's what most of the time. This suit, man, is strange. Because a cowboy only have to wear a hat and boots and jeans. But I'm honored with these young men. I'm honored. Because what they're doing, they don't have to do what they're doing. But if we don't do it, no one else is going to do it for us.
Right.
No one. Horses saved my life. I went into it full-fledged. I came out to Thistledown racetrack out here. Do I still have time?
Sure.
I came out here to Thistledown, and I went to the starting gate, and I had my older brother take a picture. And I was in the starting gate, and he was like, "What you doing?" I said, I'm starting out this gate just like a race. And I'm going to try to make a living with these horses. Still not knowing equine therapy turned out to be the greatest form of therapy that we have right now to help our veterans. Yeah. Equine therapy. Yeah. I don't know anyone that don't like a horse. I know a lot of people that's scared of a horse. But our guys come in and start rubbing on a horse or something like that. I've seen it. I eventually got my trainer's license. I said I was going to do it like my college. My trainer's license would be my bachelor's. My racing official license would be like my master's. If I became a racing official or anything, I would consider that like a PhD or something. You know, I wanted to think. I knew I wanted to go to school, so I had to try something. So I'm saying to all of y'all, particularly the family members of our veterans, wives, daughters, sons, these guys been through it. Even those that didn't go into a combat zone. When you sign your name on that line, you don't have any control of who goes where and who goes what. So even though a veteran did not go to Vietnam or Afghanistan, or if he's a veteran, he deserves the same respect as a veteran that's ducked and dodged 100,000 bullets. He deserves the same respect, the same benefits, the same honor. Because when you sign your name on that line, and like we know, sometimes you can select where you want to go. But I guarantee you, in combat, you go where they tell you to go. And you go willingly, because in combat, everybody have live ammunition. And when everybody have live ammunition, cooperation is real easy. So I'm saying all this to say, the different family members, y'all have a job. Because most of us, we don't think we have a problem. We didn't think we had a problem. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know some family members here. I'm not going to point anyone out or anything like that. But I know some of you say, what the hell happened here? We as a black community, we have one heck of a responsibility. I'm going to divert for a quick second. I had a friend who recently passed here, Wyman, Eric, Wyman McCary. We grew up together, we was in school together. I went to his funeral, and they announced that's what he was and everything. And he was a sergeant in the Army, and they just announced it. Then later I found out that during this time he was in service, he attained the highest rank an enlisted man can attain in the Army. He was a sergeant major. That's the highest rank an enlisted man can attain in the Army. During a time when if you look like you wanted to say something to someone white out the way, or if you didn't want to be on KP all day and you're going to talk back for it, extremely hard for a black man to get promoted. For a black man my age to retire at the rank of sergeant major, he has accomplished major stuff. But when they had his funeral, he was a sergeant, just like that. Honor our veterans. Learn. I say to all the brothers in the fraternity, tell your story. Pick somebody out in your family and tell your story. Don't let your life go to waste and your story is not told. Each and every one of us that's been in service have a story. Tell it. Let somebody know. So if when that time comes and you transition, there's some history about you. You know, I know I'm speaking to ex-military family members, but when we leave military, we never leave military. I'm an Army rat and I'll be a town rat the rest of my life, and that's not going to change. But when we leave the service, if we don't write something down, no one knows. Black history get lost so fast. You see what's happening now in the schools? Mm-hmm. You see what's happening now? Just recently, we discovered a black infantry unit that took what's it, the Sherman or the tank guy, Patton took the unit, opened the doors for Patton's units to come through. A black unit. Nobody knew about it. Nobody talked about it. I have a nephew that graduated recently from Citadel in South Carolina. And I went down to Citadel. It's like the Little West Point. It's like a Little West Point. I went down to his graduation, went to his event. Then I pulled him to the corner and I said, I'm asking you, don't let the Tone Rat history get lost. Don't let it get lost. And the reason I ask him that is because if you think about several of our adventures that we have accomplished, you don't hear about it. You don't know about it. I was on a lot of missions that what we call DNTs and DNH. Do not talk, did not happen. That happened. Yes, that goes on. Very seldom would I talk about tongues, but I want to talk about them just to end my speech here. Y'all see what's happening in Israel? They're dealing with tongues over there, but they're told two different types of tongues. The tongues I was in, you barely could move around in. The tongues I'm seeing on the screen in Israel, they're man-sized, but it's what goes on up in here. You are the ones that actually have a chance to see what soldiers are seeing. And when they come home, if they haven't been shot, if they haven't been physically wounded in some kind of way, they walk right past the bed. But when it do happen, it come out as domestic violence, DWI, petty crime, suicide attempt. That's what happened when invisible wounds, invisible injuries surface. To wind things up, truly honored. But I put something before you. Keep cracking that whip.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Keep cracking that whip. And for those of you that family members of these guys, think about what they could be doing. Think about what is happening in our communities right now. We don't have many riddles. We don't have many concerned veterans groups. We don't have many, how to pronounce it? New. We don't have many of those. It's up to us. And this is all one team. This is all one team right here.
One team, one fight.
Crack that whip. Thank you.